And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Hope you're ready. Hope you're excited for a banger of a ZVP that we have ready for you. As spawning in the top right hand corner of Ultra Love, we have the South Korean Zerg player, the Red Zerg, representing Team Falcons. It is Solar. And spawning in the bottom left hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the South Korean Protoss player, the Blue Protoss, representing Twisted Minds. It is Classic. And if you're in the chats, Bappy, you know what time it is? It's Gamba time. Predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Best of luck in the chat, as it's going to be a harder one to call, I should emphasize here. Both Solar and Classic, they're both deserving to be part of the main event. Solar and Classic are some of the best Protoss players in the world, but only one can make it through. That goes to show just how brutal, how intense, and how unforgiving the qualifiers are. Unforgiving, Pappy, unforgiving. Here we go. I would not be surprised if this goes to the ace match. Would not be surprised if this goes all the way to game 3, but we'll see. Keep our eyes on our players. Fingers crossed. I'm hoping for an ace match at least. All the games, Pappy, all the games. For now, Hatch, Gas Pool, standard opener here out of Solar. Likewise, Classic across the map, going for a gate expand as well. Standard openers for the time being, no crazy 15-15, and no Nexus first or anything like that. When it comes to the map itself, welcome, one and all to Ultra Love. Ultra Love is more known for being quite defendable on a 3 and 4 base setup. Despite that, though, the rush distance by ground is shorter. It's tied, I believe, for how short it is, alongside some of these other maps like ley lines, so shorter rush distance by ground, and we have seen Solar go for 3 base all-ins. We've seen him cut drones, commit into like a German taxi with queens and drop loads across the map, or just a Ling Queen Nidus all-in, or just Roach Ravager 6/6 drone all-in. Solar has been quite aggressive on Ultra Love, at least he has been in the past. I'll be honest, I haven't casted Solar in a couple of weeks. Maybe like 1 week, maybe like 1 or 2 weeks, but you know, I mean, time does fly here, and the patch is still relatively new. We'll see how players have adjusted over time. We'll see if Solar is one to embrace an all-in on this map despite its defensive features. It is a risk to take, but now Solar getting his third base is on the way. Likewise, do have our Adept opener here out of Classic, hoping to delay his opponent's expansion for as long as possible, and Solar is forced to expand linearly instead. Now, the plus side for Classic, as Solar expands away from the Protoss, does mean the creep is going to take a little bit longer to get across the map to actually spread towards the 3rd base location of Classic. Bear that in mind. So far, a nice start here for Classic, as Solar does expand away. Behind this Stargate opener out of Classic, nothing too crazy, nothing too wild. Going for the Stargate, going for an Oracle behind it as well, I would imagine. And there it is, Oracle is on the way. Likewise, Adept threatening a Shade, keeping an eye here on gases, on saturation. Will commit into the main base as well. Bold move, picks up a Ling. Gets 1 Ling, heads towards the main mineral line, confirms gases, confirms no saturation, and gets out. So far, nice scouting here by Classic, as it does threaten the natural. Up! Once the drone won't quite get it. It doesn't get the workers. Nice spore trick there by Solar, saves all his drones. And likewise, Solar gets across the map and gets into the main base. A free full scout confirms the gases, confirms the Stargate and the Oracle production. Here we go. Spore gets thrown down at the natural. Queen's getting ready in the main. Oracle dives in. We'll get 1 drone. Oh, gets 1, gets 2. 2 workers go down, but does sustain some hull damage. At the same time, Lings hit the 3rd base to get another probe. Not bad. Solar's keeping up when it comes to the damage he's taken. Likewise, getting on top of the pylon as well. Can he force a cancel? Oh, not quite. He can get a kill instead. Even better. Yeah, not a cancel. We'll get a kill. Shuts down the pylon. Lings, they get away. Classic will save the expansion, but at a cost. So we do have a back and forth so far. Classic getting a couple workers. Solar reciprocating that damage. Stasis trap here into the natural. Solar does notice. Does respond. Second Oracle moving out. First one takes a bit of hull damage as well. And we now have the follow-up here. As Classic is establishing his 3rd base, he is taking up and headed towards a Forge and a Twilight Council. Should be +1 in Blink. It should be. So just updating our title. It's all good. As we are settling in, Solo going for his Roach Horn. Roach Horn is at a reasonable time. I mentioned before that Solo, we have seen him embrace Roach all-ins more often than not on this map. But this is, a standard timing with the Roach Horn. He could still cut workers on 3-base saturation. True. We'll keep an eye out for that. We're keeping an eye on the saturation for Solar. He's going for the 4th base. Could just be for Larva. Oracles will delay. Nicely done. They shut down the drone. Going for the Queens. They get 1. No transfuse. Yeah, not enough energy for a transfuse. 1 Queen goes down. Likewise, 3 drone kills in total. Not bad. Oracles do get away. They do escape. Likewise, Solar counterattacking. Ooh, they could threaten the mineral line, but there's a warp in time. He's going to get 1, going to get 2 probes. And not much more than that. I mean, 3 in total. Classic now moving out with a counterattack. These are vanilla adepts. Ooh, and I assumed it was going to be +1 and blink. It is not. It is +1 and charge instead. Charge into Archon production, into Immortal production. This is going to be a much stronger timing from Classic. Something much more aggressive, I should emphasize. Stalkers lead into a longer game state. Here, there's strong timing with +1 and with charge. Meanwhile, Adepts A shaded towards the natural. Lings were keeping up. Solo going for the bold move. Solo going for the Spire. I'm concerned. I'm concerned for Solo. This is a big, risky move here from him. 3 drones go down. Probes did fall across the map. Stays trapped here into the mineral line. Solo, no reaction. Late response, massive connection. Ooh, takes down more than half, even most of the gas mining workers. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, massive stasis in the mineral line. Solo trying to go for a counterattack. And again, he's going for the Spy, but the Spy got scattered. Yeah, big scout here from Classic. Ay, ay, ay. Once again, he sees, he knows. He's aware of what's going on. Solo no longer has that surprise factor. And Classic is catching up when it comes to his economy, getting his 3rd base fully operational, taking his gases, and should soon be embracing, a 2nd Stargate and Phoenixes. So double Stargate Phoenix production, that is to hard counter the mutas. And Solo, he knows he got scattered. I mean, the stasis trap was here at the natural, he knows. And he's confirming with the Overlord as well. So we'll see how many mutas he makes. I wouldn't be surprised if Solo just doesn't make any. If he even lets the Spy finish and just avoids any kind of muta play. Revelation gets eyes on the Spire itself, confirms that it wasn't cancelled. And Solar, he is embracing Roach production. Getting up to full base saturation. Moving out for a counterattack. Is denied, is deflected. And as you can see here, Solar, he's making Roaches. He's making Roaches, making Ravagers. Defending against the Oracles. It might be worth making a Corruptor or a couple of units to deal with these Oracles, but in general he's not really embracing mutas. He can't, he shouldn't. At this level of play, if you get scouted, you know that Classic, I mean clearly he's ready to just shut down mutas at a moment's notice. Meanwhile, here comes the Queen Walk. So Solar, he went up to 4 base saturation, 74 workers, or I guess 3.5 base saturation really, but a decent economy here, and now he's committed. He's moving out, and Classic is taking into Skytoss with the Fleet Beacon. Classic. He was getting ready for mutas. He's not quite ready for this. Recharger pushing in. Force Field's going to be knocked down. So far, so good. Solar can he get on top of those Immortals? He's trying to. As it's all or nothing for Solar. Against Solar, there's no Hydrogen, there's no Hive, there's no Infestation Pits, there's no +2, no upgrades. Solar is all in. He breaks through the Archons. And those Immortals are very exposed. And he wants them. He wants the Immortals. Does push forward. A shield battery within range. 1 Immortal goes down. He gets 1. He's going for the 2nd. He will get it. Yeah, 1 Immortal left. Charges are coming from behind, but reinforcements are coming in. And it looks like Solar has done it. He has broken the back of Classic. Remember, Classic was taking into Skytoss with the Fleet Beacon. He was ready for a longer game state. He was not ready for it all-in. Solar, he has done it. He has broken the 3rd. And again, the trend of Solar being aggressive on Ultra Love continues. It does continue here. GG gets called, and Solar, he will take game number 1. GG. GG, well played. Now, to be fair, Solar, he initially didn't want to be all-in. Remember, he went for the Spire, which means that his plan initially was to go into mutas, to harass, to get into a 4th base saturation, and to go for a different kind of game state. But I do really like the decision that was made. Basically, Solar, because he knew he got scouted, he lets the Spire finish, make sure it I mean, it got revealed, of course, so Classic was aware of that, and Solar, he went for something that's a little bit more inefficient in a sense, right? Like, resources were wasted on a tech structure that wasn't used, but instead, he just doubled down on Roach Ravager, and the Oracles never saw. They never saw the move out. Remember, the Oracles, they were pinned behind the main base, keeping eyes on tech, scouting the mineral lines, but didn't quite see what was being produced and the lack of saturation at the 4th base. And with that, GG, well played. Solar, he does catch Classic with his pants down. And now we're getting into game number 2. Let's go. We are jumping into that second game. And we'll see if Classic can bounce back. Now, what I will say, coming into game number 2, and a big reason as to why Solo was so successful in game 1, as I was trying to emphasize in the lead up to it, is the rush distance by ground on Ultra Love is shorter than on some of these other maps. So that's why we have seen Solar typically be aggressive on Ultra Love. Here we're loading into one of the largest maps in the map pool. We are loading into Abyssal Reef. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Abyssal Reef, we have the South Korean Zerg player, the Red Zerg, representing Team Falcons, leading the series 1-0. It is Solar. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the Blue Protoss, representing Twisted Minds. It is a Classic. And we have mentioned this time and time again, but welcome one and all to Abyssal Reef, a map where it is much easier to defend and to establish not just a 3-base economy, but a 4 and a 5-base economy as well. The 5-base setup here is very secure, very close together, very tight-knit, very easy to rotate between, to defend, to secure yourself, and to get into a longer and later game state. We've had a lot of late game on Abyssal Reef. We've had a lot of 5-base saturation as well. So if Classic were to do something like be more defensive and rush into Sky Toss, I can see that working here. I can see that working on Abyssal Reef. From the side of Solar, I would say that certain all-ins now are far less viable, especially because of the ramp. Like the very narrow choke point coming into natural, the ramp, the force fields, you cannot push in towards this natural. Because of that, Classic can focus his defenses here at the 3rd base instead. There are multiple angles of attack, but because it's easier to kind of position your army and set up your stack defense, it is easier to hold as well. So I feel like going for these like ground-based assaults, whether it's 3-base saturation or even like we saw previously, like 72, 74 drones, mass roach ravager, I feel like that is going to be less effective. But something that bypasses how large the map is something like Nidus play. So if we saw like a Link Queen Nidus all in, Roach Ravager Nidus all in with Queen support as well, like I could definitely see that working a little bit better. Potentially Swarm Host play because of how large the map is, because of how many choke points there are, or so many different like paths, so many cliff faces as well. Something like Nidus play can work quite well depending on the build of the Protoss. So there are like other things that could be more viable than others, right? The map itself does kind of lean in a very different direction than Ultra Love. But we'll see. We shall see. I'm making the assumption that Solo wants to be aggressive. If he wants to macro, then different story, right? Then it's all about greed. It's all about expanding and trying to outproduce your opponent, take more bases. Keep an eye on Solar. For now, Stargate. Stargate has been placed here for Classic. Is good for the Stargate opener. Oh, right. Something that I should mention, the more obvious thing, Mutas. True. Like, if Solar did want to open up and actually commit to Spire and actually make Mutas this time, Abyssal Reef would be a better map for it. True. So that is also on the table. As for the time being, Solar, he's going for his 3rd, setting up his 3rd expansion. Across the map, first Oracle is on the way. So far, everything looking normal from Classic. Going for the Oracle, going to Scout, into his 3rd. Adept likewise moves out across the map. Meanwhile, Classic, he does fully wall off the natural. Again, like, it's just, yeah, you can just fully wall this area off. Take your 3rd base, focus on your 3rd base defense instead. Should be secure. Last game, we saw Solar achieve quite a bit of damage with Ling Harass. Remember, killing workers here and there, like 2, 3, 4 probes at a time, getting a pylon, applying pressure, forcing warp-ins. We'll see if he's as successful here on Abyssal Reef. I don't think he will be, but, I mean, we'll see. We'll see if Solar can make some magic happen here as Lings, they do arrive. They collapse on the Adept, they get us around. Oh, they try to. It does slip away. Does avoid this round for so long. As a result, Classic does trade more efficiently. And Classic will shut these Lings down. So like we'll have to get out of there to pull away. First Oracle gets across the map, gets one drone. Ooh, bit of miscontrol there by Classic, but he doesn't take any hull damage, so it's fine. Only shield damage. Gets one drone, pulls away. We'll pull away, we'll meet up with his second Oracle. We do have our Twilight Council Forge follow-up, the same setup so far as we saw in game 1. This can once again lead into charge and +1, or still blink and +1. Ooh, as the Oracle does take a lot of hits. Takes a lot of damage. Flanking Queen! And one more volley. Oh my god, it almost goes down, but it barely does get away. 6 drone kills, pretty nice damage here from Classic. Did take a lot of hull damage, but did survive. Did survive, can regenerate those shields, and dive back in. Very clutch play there by Classic as he gets away. And joining up his Oracles. Oh my god. Flanking Queens don't quite catch it. And we have the answer. Yep, more Mac-oriented, +1 and Blink. +1 and Blink are on the way. Lings, meanwhile, they do hit the third. They get a probe. They get one. They get two. But again, last game, Classic did initially open up more aggressively going into charge. If you remember, he never quite hit any kind of charge timing because he was taking towards that Fleet Beacon and towards Sky Toss. Classic did shift gears in game 1 to try to be more tech heavy, which was part of his downfall, of course. Here we can see something quite different. You know, with Link Stalkers, you can gain map control, you can get value over time and build up towards a longer game state, or you can throw down extra gateways. Gets, ooh, 2 drones, but the Spore gets punished. Ay. Classic, he does get punished for 1 Spore does go down. Sorry, Spore. 1 Oracle goes down to the Spore, what I meant to say. As the Spore is more potent than it used to be. That is definitely something that Protoss players have to adjust to. Is the power of the Spore, respecting the Spore in general. And how many gateways? We're on 4, soon to be 6. Yeah, 6 gateways, and we're taking up towards Storm. So Storm is going to be the splash damage choice. Basically, from this moment, from 3-base saturation with extra gases, Classic, he can either go into Colossus, Disruptors, or Storm, and he's opted to go into Storm. At least for now. Which again is a much more active style, and considering the introduction of NG Overcharge as well, I mean, you have that many more Storms available. We've seen a lot of Storms here in PvZ, or in general from Protoss players in the new patch. Storms for days back. Let's go. Stalkers move out. They're going to be applying some pressure, shaving off some Lings, trading with the army, ideally denying creep, and potentially denying bases. As 3 active tumors go down, rotating over towards the would-be 4th. Queens are keeping up though, and the 4th base should be able to hold on. Queen's under fire. There's a transfuse. Stalkers, he wants a queen. Oh my god. Does want the Queens. Oh my god, the transfuse just in time. Solar clutch move saves the Queens. Stalkers, they back up for now. More reinforcements coming in. Stage dress behind this. Solar, he's under a lot of pressure. Behind this, Classic is expanding. So far, Solar is keeping up. Saves the Queens once again. Pulls away. Triggers the Stasis traps. Does trigger them ahead of time. So nice moves here out of Solar, and again he's just buying time, and he has opted to go Swarm Host. If you recall, that was one of the options that we did mention on this map. Because of the terrain, because of the just features of the map itself, Swarm Hosts are much more viable here on Abyssal Reef. But you don't want to use them defensively. Up! Stalkers, they rotate towards the natural, going for the Roach Warren. Roach Warren under fire, picking up Roaches themselves. Nice trades here by Classic, but he will bleed out a couple of Stalkers. Swarmers, they have to reveal themselves. They will use their first Locust Wave defensively. And that is a rough moment here for Solar, as he's forced to use them. Meanwhile, back at home, Phoenixes are on the way to hunt down Overlords. Nidastorm across the map. Classic is on a 4-base saturation. And Solar, he's behind in workers. Oof. Yeah, Solar, he's in a lot of trouble here. He's down in economy. He invested into Swarm Hosts, and it is a big gamble here, considering that now Classic knows. Like, a big reason why Swarm Hosts can do quite well for themselves in this matchup is like the surprise factor. Like, the first Locust Wave needs to get damage done, and the surprise is not there, Fatty. It's not there. He knows about the surprise. Speaking of, Classic's in position. Locust Wave comes in. Massive storms. And Solo, he gets 4 probes. He gets 6. 6 probes. It's okay. it's okay damage. Still not quite worth it, though. Solo, he's looking for more. As Classic, he will find the Nidus. And again, Solo, he gambled a little bit here as well. I'm sure he was hoping that it was going to be a charge base opener. Nidus Swarms and Swarm Hosts do far better against charge lot play. Blink Stalkers, as you can see, they can just micro so well against the Locust Waves and even keep up with the Nidus Worms. So the Nidus here finishing up on the left-hand side towards the 4th. Meanwhile, Phoenixes, they pick away at the Ravagers. No anti-air. Hydrogen just now starting. No anti-air whatsoever. Ravagers are going down for free. Locust Wave comes in. Can he get the expansion? Can he get the Nexus? Storm goes off. Gonna be 2 storms to defend, and the Nexus will survive just barely. It's close, but it lives. Very, very close there. Which means, once again, the second Locust Wave wasn't quite worth it. Didn't get anything. Of course, the chances of that base going down is quite high. It takes like 1 volley. It will go down. And Solo is trying to transition into Lurkers. And again, bearing in mind this entire time the soup has been lying, even though Solo has been up in army supply, it's inflated because of both Stormhosts and Ravagers and Roaches. Like, it's a very inefficient army. I mean, I say very supply inefficient, I should say. Has potential. I mean, at least the Locust Wave does. Gets an Immortal. Not bad. Gets 1 Immortal, going for the Nexus. This time no Storm. He's going to get it. He's going to get the base. There we go. Natural finally goes down. Damage is finally being done. Oh, Queen's getting caught out. And again, Solo, he's trying to switch into Hydra Lurker, but he needs more time. Oh, and here comes Classic. He has Storms. He has 4 High Templar with the main army. Another Nidus Swarm. Yo, Solo, he wants that 4th. Phoenix, they dive in. They clean up all the Hydras. They're just not enough. Not enough Hydras, not enough anti-air. Queen's going down. Hydra's going down as well. But here comes that Locust Wave, and Classic should lose this base. And he's going to be down to a 2-base economy. To his main and his 3rd. As they bring down the expansion. Another Nidus. Again, it all started with that natural base going down. You know, that one time Classic, he wasn't ready. That's the only time that Solo did need. And here they go. The Lurkers. Lurkers are coming. Now, Solo, he's still in a bit of trouble here. Even though he's morphing in 5 Lurkers, which will help against the ground army, with all the Phoenixes in play, technically, Classic could kill all the Hydras and then snipe all the Lurkers as well. Like, it is possible. As there are 11 Phoenixes. Main army pushes in. Lurker's not quite ready. They have to reposition. Massive storm. Oh my god, the storms! They're brutal! Oh my god, the storms annihilate the Hydras. More storms available, of course. And there's still more storms left. And we spoke about it. Yeah, we can just pick up with the Lurkers. Not enough anti-air. Lurkers get caught out. And Classic can just snowball from here. Takes on the Hydras. Another storm. There's still more storms. He still has more storms left over. And he's going for the kill. He's going for the throats. A brutal storm where little Hydras are left. And GG gets called. Classic ties up the series. We are going to the ace match. Whew. GG. GG, well played. Again, Solo, he took a risk, took a gamble going into Swarm Host. As a reminder, I believe Solo made the decision to go Swarm Host before he confirmed it was Mass Blink Stalker. I know that I was saying that the map itself does favor Swarm Host play. I do stand by that. And the Swarm Hosts, they eventually got some damage. They eventually did some damage. That is true. But against heavy Stalker aggression, it can be really difficult to get away with Swarm Hosts. Not just that, but because Stalkers are so mobile, they can hunt down the Nidus Swarms, they can hunt down Swarm Hosts. They gain map control as well. It can be more difficult to get away with that. And we saw that even though Solo was eventually killing bases, it took a long time. It took a very long time for that to happen. If you remember, the first 3 Locust Waves didn't really do anything. The first Locust Wave was spent defensively against the Stalkers. Second Locust Wave was spent at the natural, which didn't get any damage. It killed 6 probes, I think. Yeah, 6 probes, if I remember correctly. And then we had the third Locust Wave that went for the 4th base. It didn't kill that either. So it was just a really rough start there for Solar. Eventually he got damaged, but by the time he did, it was too late. Classic had already reaped the rewards of that. Oh. He had already reaped the rewards of those expansions, was already able to take up into Storm, into High Templar, into a robust army. They just went for the kill. He went for the kill then and there. Solar needed more time. And with that, we're going to the ace match. We're going all the way to game number 3. Let's go. Let us go. So we're getting into the ace match here. It all ends on Whispers of Gold. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Whispers of Gold, we have the South Korean Zerg player, the Red Zerg, representing Team Falcons, being forced into the ace match. And I mean, we expected an ace match, but how will the story end? Can he bounce back? It is Solar for Team Falcons. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Protoss player, the Blue Protoss, representing Twisted Minds. Tying up the series, can he keep up that momentum? It is Classic. Here we go. Let's do settle in. Seeing the chat, is it me or is Abyssal Reef the C version of King's Cove, but the ramps are on the other side? I would say no. King's Cove is large, yes, there are a lot of bases, but the third base is defendable on King's Cove. The 4th and 5th base are more exposed on King's Cove. On Abyssal Reef, the 5 base setup is much more fortifiable, much easier to hold on to, just because how close the bases are, because of the choke points, because of the ramps, the points of elevation. So yeah, I would say that King's Cove is more open than Abyssal Reef. The initial 3 base setup looks similar, that is true, but the 4th and 5th base are different. There are some similarities though, 100%. There are some similarities. As from here, we are settling into Whispers of Gold. Now, Whispers of Gold is a much more open map that is favorable towards aggression. There's a couple of features here when it comes to Whispers of Gold. One, the rush distance by ground is short. It is a short rush distance by ground. Likewise, the 3rd and 4th bases here are more exposed. They're more wide open, more vulnerable to aggression. So if Solar wanted to go for like a 2 base all-in or a 3 base all-in or even like a 2.5 base all-in, if you want to be aggressive early on, this is the map to do it on. This is the map where he can have more success. In saying that, Classic I'm sure is fully aware, and we'll see how Classic opens and how he responds. We have our tech of choice. What's it going to be? Stargate. Stargate open out of Classic, into Oracle, into a 3rd. So, I mean, so far everything looking normal. I wouldn't be surprised if Classic goes for a Twilight Council as he takes the 3rd. What does that mean? That means delayed Forge into faster Blink, and the way that lines up is that Blink finishes up in time for a 2 base Roach all-in. Assuming that it's going to be 2 base Roach all-in, but it's a very safe way to play. So we'll see if Classic does play safe, we'll see if he does go for the earlier Twilight Council, or if he plays Standard. So my eyes are on Classic. The alternative, of course, could be to just go for an early Twilight Council into Glaives. True. I mean, just be the aggressor yourself. Also viable. As for now, the Adept does threaten a Shade. Second Adept has arrived. Of course, 2 Adepts do one-shot drones, so they can threaten the workers, the mineral lines even more. Solar, he has to keep up. And so far he is, but we do commit to the Shade. So far 1 drone goes down. Solar, he pulls away in time and does save his workers, and he will kill and snipe 1 Adept. So nice defense so far by Solar. So far not worth it for Classic. Ooh, he will lose both. That should not have happened. That should not have happened. Both Adepts go down. Now Solar, he has map control. He can counterattack. He can try and delay the 3rd base. 3rd base is about to be taken, but again, Solar, he will get eyes on that. Now, thankfully, it's only 3 Lings, and Solar, he isn't reinforcing. Thankfully for Classic. Solar had the option to, but for now, just moving in with a handful of Lings, and we'll apply some pressure to the 3rd. Again, usually those 2 Adepts that died would be here to defend, but, I mean, they're not here. They're not here back at home. Solar pulls away, doesn't commit. Oracle's threatening the bases. Solo's keeping up. And the Classic opted not to go for the earlier... yeah, he opted not to go for the earlier Twilight Council. He's throwing it down as the base is halfway done, so this is a more standard timing here. Twilight Council into Forge, Overlord sees everything. Solo, he sees all, he knows all. He's aware of what's going on. This is a standard follow-up here. This can lead into Blink or Charge, of course. Both options are viable for Classic. But he's not being overly safe, is what I am getting at. Meanwhile, Solar just saturating his bases, staying on 1 gas for now. There we go. Lair is now on the way. 5-minute Roach Warren. Pretty standard Roach Warren timing. No major signs of aggression yet. Now, we saw that even with a 5-minute Roach Warren, you can still go for committed play. We saw that in Game 1 on Ultra Love. So I'm still have my eyes on Solar. As you remember, he had a timing with +1 and with Roach Speed on 74 drones. Say between 72 and 76. So we'll keep an eye on Solar, see if he goes for the same build. Lings, they get across the map. We have +1 and Blink on the way for Classic. Not Charge. And from here, Classic, now that he's taking his gases, he has a choice to make. Does he go into Storm again or into Colossus? Robo. Robo into Temple Archives. It's going to be Storm. I mean, again, this is just a lot more popular, a lot more trendy nowadays. Going into Colossus follow-ups are a lot more old school. It's very like 2023 kind of era of StarCraft, where that was all the craze. Nowadays, especially with NG Overcharge, there's a lot more incentive to go into Storm instead. Just because you have more Storms than you used to have. Much more. So Colossi are very much so out of meta. As Soli does get across the map, will threaten the expansion. Forcing a defensive warp in. At the same time, Classic does push in, clearing up some creep. Moving towards the 4th. Solo's making a lot of roaches. Yo. How many drones did he have? 72. 72 drones. He has +1. He has roach speed on the way. He's massing more roaches, massing more lings. And this is looking very, very similar to the build that Solo had gone for in Game 1. We had cut workers at, again, it was between 72 and 76 drones. He did not throw down a Hydrogen, did not throw down an Infestation, no +2 either. He went for a +1, just mass, ling, roach, queen all in. And he's going for it. He is going for it. Even going for Overlord speed, that'll be for Dropper Lords. Solar is committed. Again, it's basically like a 3.5 base all-in. And emphasis on all-in because there's no further tech. Like, if this fails to kill Classic, Solar falls behind. Because he wouldn't have any Hydras, he wouldn't have any setup for Lurkers, wouldn't have any Hive tech. Like, the tech that he would need for a longer mid to late game just won't really be there. So Solar, he has to either kill Classic or at least cripple him. That's a lot of Storm! Oh my god, Jesus. That's a lot of High Templar. Aye. As Classic is setting up, throwing out wall cannons and shield batteries. Again, it's all or nothing for Solar. So denying the cannons. First storm goes up. The Biles! Ooh, they do connect. Yeah, they connect with the Immortal. Storms as running back to Rich Ravager. There's still 2 more storms left. Sorry, 3 more storms left. Another storm connects, and the Classic so far, he is holding on. Ooh, that final storm was a little bit lackluster. The other, less so. Just slowing down the army. Shield battery is done. There's another storm. There's the NG overcharge on the High Templar. Ooh, High Templar get exposed. One High Templar goes down. The Immortals are falling, and Solo, does he barely have enough? Ooh, barely not. But Classic is out of storm. Archons are morphing in instead. No more storms. Nice dodges on the Biles. Oracles, they pop off, they catch the Queens. Yeah, Queens are going down, and Classic he has held. Oh, does overextend though, losing his Oracles. One of them barely surviving. Creep is being denied. Classic pushing out onto Creep out of range of his shield batteries. He does know he has some momentum here. Still no more High Templar. And Solar, he's still not droned. He's not droned. Not got another base. He hasn't taken gases. He's not taking up. Solar, he's still in kill mode. He's still all in. And again, the soup does lie. Like, the soup is inflated because of the Roach Ravager. So Classic, he can still pull off his defense. He can pull it off. Up. Bile Zone away. Roach Ravager getting into the mineral line. High Templar exposed. One High Templar goes down. Oh, Biles connect as well. My Classic with a bit of miscontrol here. Losing High Templar, losing Immortals. Storm goes off, but Classic, he's in trouble. And Solar looks like he has done it. He's getting himself the Immortals. Again, too many mistakes at once there for Classic. As he will lose another and almost another Immortal down to 1. And from here, Solar, he can back off. He can just remax. He can just remax and rebuild once again. Just a really clutch hold here from Classic, but there's very little room for error. Can't take Biles like that, but you can't lose High Templar like that either. And Solar, he may have just done it. Pushing forward, takes down an Immortal. Storm goes up, but there's just not enough support. Not anymore. And Solar, he's looking to eliminate Classic here in the qualifier. As Biles go up, they take down the shield batteries. And we spoke about how much more difficult it is to defend this 4th base as well. I mean, both 3rd base locations. But how much more exposed they are, the base will fall, and Solar will overwhelm, taking down the entire mineral line, and he's done it. He's broken the back of Classic. Classic down to 1 Immortal. You can see Classic trying to drag Solar apart and trying to pull him towards the cannons. But it's not going to be enough. So he collapses on what little is left here on the Stalkers. There's 4 Stalkers remaining. Takes down the cannons. GG gets called, and Solar will take the series 2-1, advancing on to the quarterfinals. GG. Whew. GG, well played, Solar. He will take it. A Classic. He did have an impressive defense initially, I will say that. He was able to deflect. He was able to shut down the maxed out army of Solar, but we saw that in the aftermath, he was a little bit too cavalier. Just, there was some misunit micro, I should emphasize. There was some miscontrol when it came to his Immortals, when it came to his High Templar. He lost a little bit too much too quickly at the wrong moment, and very quickly it snowballed in favor of Solar from there, as he was able to get on top of the High Templar and get on top of the Immortals as well. And with that, GG. GG, well played. Solar, he will take it. And with that, we advance on to the next round. To the round of 8, where Solar has his next opponent.